Okay, so this is my documentary website that I created in Dreamweaver, and I'm not quite done with it, as you can tell. Oops, I'm gonna move that. But I thought that it was a perfect time to show you how I'm basically doing my website. So what I want to show you first is my template, the basics of it. What I did here was, okay, I'm not the best code editor, definitely not. I might tell you wrong information, so don't quote me on anything. But what I basically do, since I'm not the best coder, is kind of manipulate my way through things and try to find ways to put in designs that I wanted. And so one thing I wanted to do was these brushstroke things, and I wanted to connect it from the header all the way to the nav, and I didn't know how to do that to make it one photo, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. In the slideshow page, as you can see, this is one whole image, and so at least it looks like one whole image. So to do that, I had to go through Illustrator and go through this long process to figure out a way so it looks like it's one image. And so, first of all, most of us probably have a background image in our nav. At least Mr. Flo recommended it. And then so he gave us already like default images. And so all we had to do was basically replace the images. So that's easy because it's in your folder. Just replace the images, and this is the image that I picked. But also, I wanted to put a spin on it, so I went on Illustrator, I did the brushstroke pattern that I did here, and then what I did was cut it in half, and then open this background image, and then through Photoshop, copied this white brushstrokes, and put it on the image, the background image in Photoshop. And so I had to do a lot of math calculations to make it right, so the top and the bottom will look like one brushstroke image, and it wouldn't look kind of crooked. It does look here, but in the website it looks fine, so that's okay. So yeah, once I put my brushstrokes onto the image and I made it into one image, I just had to put it through the header thing. So that's simple. Just go to your CSS styles, go to header, and then in the background image, just find your folder and find your click on the folder and then put in the image, and it should pop up. And I think it's way easier to do things here instead of the coding because it's kind of complicated. But you can definitely do that too in the source code. And then so I did the same thing for the buttons, and I did that in the template so it would apply to all the pages. And so I did the same thing, took a image, and then I put the Illustrator brushstrokes onto the image, made it into one picture, and then put it through nav, and just go to background and put in an image. And so yeah, put it in there, and that's how I made it look like one whole image. And then so I did the same for the article and the body. As you can see, I have an image, so just go to article, go to the background image, and put in whatever image you want, and this is the image that I picked. And then same thing for the body. This is the image that I picked, and I used Photoshop to create this picture. I used pictures that I took from the documentary location. And then I also found a photo online on Google, a free one, of course, and then I made it opaque and then layered it on top of the first image, so it looks like this image is one whole image with woods on it, and obviously you can see the building here. And so that's how I did the background, and then again, just put the body, background image, and just put in the images. And so one cool thing that we learned in this unit is how to do these really cool effect buttons. And obviously I have to change the color because it's hard to read, but basically in CSS Designer they had new really cool special effect buttons, and they do all these like cool things, and I picked this one because I like that. So basically Mr. Flo tells you the website. I kind of forgot what it's called, but we stole their code and then we pasted it on here, and that's a really kind of complicated process. So I'm not going to show you here, but basically, we just pasted it on here, And if you go on this P3 styles, you can see this is everything from the buttons and stuff, and you can just change the colors. And so I wanted to show you my slideshow page. This was one of my favorite pages. It was definitely not fun creating the audio slideshow. It was hard and, a lot of effort, but I really liked it. And again, as you can see, you have to change the colors here so it's easier to read. But for this, we used this new thing called Fancy Box to create the audio slideshow, and it doesn't do here, but in live view, if you click on it, it pops up, and obviously you wouldn't do it in Dreamweaver here, but if you go on just like Google, it should work. And I'm sorry, Chrome. So what we did was basically just replace the photos that Mr. Flo did. So that part was actually easy. So it's not as hard as you think it was, but just had to pick like 17 photos, replace it with the photos that he gave us in his folder. And then we had to record ourselves, and we had to make a transcript, and then record our transcript, and then cut it into like 17 different audio files to create this audio slideshow. And so once you're done with that, you just put it in the folder, replace it, and it should be done. And that's fairly easy. So that I like that. And this is how I created my slideshow page. So yeah, thank you.